Who is to say, now this is just a theory, this isn't fact, but this is a theory in my opinion, is if there's still corruption lingering in Washington, who's to say that Trump or his family or people in his administration could be compromised to the point where the corruption is somehow taking a hold of Trump or pulling the reins back on Trump from getting certain things done?
Mr. President, I wanted to say, first of all, happy Women's Month. You do so much for women by, first of all, keeping men out of women's sports, and you platform so many...
That was an easy one. That was crazy.
You've platformed so many great women, like your Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. You also have Caroline Levitt doing a great job as press secretary. Now Alina will be joining as well. Since Democrats seem to struggle answering this question, I wanted to ask you, what is a woman, and why is it important that we understand the difference between men and women?
Well, it's sort of easy to answer for me, because a woman is somebody that can have a baby under certain circumstances. She has a quality. A woman is a person who's much smarter than a man, I've always found. A woman is a person that doesn't give a man even a chance of success. And a woman's a person that in many cases has been treated very badly, because I think that what happens with this crazy issue of men being able to play in women's sports is just ridiculous and very unfair to women and very demeaning to women. And that's got to be about a 94%. I read today it was a 94% issue. And I watched the other day, a congressman, a Democrat congressman, fighting for the fact that men should be allowed to compete essentially in women's sports. And I say, I hope they keep that going, because they'll never win another election. That's a big deal. But women are basically incredible people, do so much for our country, and we love our women, and we're going to take care of our women. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really ridiculous how people are advocating for men to play in women's sports or be in women's bathrooms. I mean, it's sickening, and I've said it in multiple videos. The Democrats and people that are supporting this the most are into pedophilia. There's no way around it. Why do you think it'd be okay for a man being undercover as a woman and then going into women's dressing rooms, bathrooms? I mean, it's sickening. And I'm glad we have a president who's thinking straight and having that common sense of, no, women and men are two different genders. They have different bathrooms, and that's how we should keep it. It's going to prevent anything wrong and bad from happening. And these Democrats, they're pushing for this disgusting stuff that has caused problems with women that do not want this, and it's not right.
The President of the United States has spent his first 2 months in office trying out a new tactic to not answer questions from reporters. The tactic: feign ignorance.
I know nothing about it. I did not. I know nothing about that. I don't know when it was signed, because I didn't sign it. I don't know anything about Signal. I wasn't involved in this. I wasn't involved with it. I wasn't there.
Nothing classified was shared.
Well, that's what I've heard. I don't know. I'm not sure. You'll have to ask the various people involved. I really don't know.
Have you been briefed about the soldiers in Lithuania who are missing?
No, I haven't.
I don't know.
Near me. He wasn't involved in the Signal thing. He was not involved in it.
But there's a lot of I don't know. There's a lot of I don't know.
Well, how is he supposed to know about it if he wasn't involved?
Seriously, I do think that the fact that the President of the United States was not briefed on 4 missing soldiers, I mean, having been in a White House, that is something you would brief. So I don't know, maybe Mike Waltz was pretty busy those last couple of days, but somebody should have briefed the president on that. I do think it's just a little odd that he says he doesn't know anything about things that he's actually supposedly signed. Maybe he signed it via AutoPen or something else. But he definitely has he has signed proclamations, and then he says, I don't know anything about that. That is also a serious problem.
I'd rather have him.
These idiots can't give flack on Trump and his administration when they didn't say or do a damn thing when Biden was president. When Biden was president, I didn't hear any of this stuff. Why didn't they question a lot of the things that Biden did and did not do for our country and for the American people. Instead, he chose to open the borders. He chose to get out of Afghanistan in the worst possible way. Let's play back that video of how Biden decided to get our troops out of Afghanistan. Many people died. The news failed to really push this to the world because they knew it would look bad on Biden. Ridiculous.
That's a different
you
thing.
that he could tell you exactly how many woke professors are in the country, or how many boys is playing girls volleyball, or how many quote-unquote illegal aliens came in yesterday. He focuses on what he wants to focus on, and this ain't one of them.
All good things to know, by the way.
Just saying, he
As
may be
well
making
as
some
the soldiers.
So
who died.
selective ignorance, you're saying?
I've used it to my advantage many times.
With this here, I watched it earlier, and with so many things going on within our government and this entire country, from Doge trying to make the government more efficient, from the JFK files coming out, from just so many things, the protests going on with Tesla and Elon. There's just so much going on. And I've talked about this in other videos where the very first thing the Trump administration needed to do was to gut out the corruption in Washington. If you don't gut that from the get-go, everything else that he campaigned on is irrelevant, and it would make no sense for anybody. It wouldn't benefit anybody in the country. Who is to say, now this is just a theory, this isn't fact, but this is a theory in my opinion, is if there's still corruption lingering in Washington, who's to say that Trump or his family or people in his administration could be compromised to the point where the corruption is somehow taking a hold of Trump or pulling the reins back on Trump from getting certain things done. Obviously, we're having lawsuits against the Trump administration. We're having people that are just don't want to be a part of what Trump's agenda is, even though the majority of the American people voted on it. But who's to say that corruption is holding back Trump from actually getting a lot of the things that he wants to get done? This is kind of a freaky thought because the majority of the American people wanted Trump to get back into office and to, do what he said he was going to do when he ran for president again. And being that this is his second term, he knows he has a very good outlook of what the government is now because he's already served a first term and he has established himself a good team, a solid team. There's going to be mistakes along the way. A lot of these people that he chose on his team are not veteran politicians that have been corrupted throughout the years into doing things they shouldn't have been doing because money got to their head. Well, now Trump has appointed people that already have money, and their focused and main objective is to help this country grow and maintain itself and help everybody else in the country, get wealthy in a sense. It's not going to be easy, but it also is, it's not the government's responsibility to make everybody wealthy or rich. It's supposed to make everybody have the opportunities and the ability to strive in whatever you want to do in life to build yourself into being something in this country where you're making the income that you want to make. Nobody is stopping anybody from making the money they want to make. People need to have the willingness and the assertiveness and the goal, the inspiration to actually go somewhere on what you want to do in life to make the money you want to make.
Our next guest got a look inside the El Salvadoran prison where those alleged gang members are being held. YouTube content creator Nick Shirley joins us now. Right, so tell me what you saw, what shocked you the most?
Yeah, as soon as you enter, the building's just like massive, and you can see right there, you go face to face with some of the worst people that are roaming the earth right now, and it really is shocking.
It's how many people?
Their capacity for 80 people in each cell, and then
Wow.
there's about 10 of them inside, so there's a lot of people, around 800 people inside.
And so these people live in this cell, like 80 of them per cell. They sleep there. They go to the bathroom in front of everybody in that cell. There are no doors, there are no curtains, there is no privacy. Is that for security, or is there a psychological angle to this?
Really, I think it's security, and these prisoners are stripped away from all their privileges. So whatever happens in there, everybody can see. They don't get access to go outside. Once they're inside, they'll never see the sun again, and their lives will be inside of that cell for the rest of their life.
They come out for a brief period of time to do a little bit of exercise, and if they want, they can also see a preacher who comes in and helps with that. You looked at these guys eye to eye. What do you see?
Yeah, you see darkness, and you don't see much hope left in their eyes.
Wow.
I had the opportunity to ask some of them. I asked them, "Are you guys still proud to be gangsters?" And some of them looked me in the eye and shook their head and said yes, and others, you could tell, were very remorseful. For what they've committed. See their tattoos on their chest. If they have MS-13 or Barrio 18 on their chest, it probably means they're in there for good reason. And there is a process. If they do believe they're innocent, they can then prove themselves in front of a judge.
I mean, this YouTuber had the ability to get approved to go walk this prison. I've seen it a couple times on YouTube, and I know Kristi Noem was there, did an interview with them in the background, and you know, it's a shame that, you know, all these guys, they had their opportunities. They had their moment in time to redeem themselves from past crimes and heinous things they've done in life. And a lot of them to this day still say, you know, no, I'm still glad that I'm still a gang member, even though I'm trapped in this cell until the day that I die.
And I don't know if you've seen this, but the two astronauts that you just helped save from space, they didn't get any overtime pay for all that extra time. They got $5 a day per diem. For 286 days, that is $1,430 in extra pay. Is there anything the administration can do to get them, to make them whole?
Well, nobody's ever mentioned this to me. If I have to, I'll pay it out of my own pocket, okay? I'll get it for them. I'll take care of that. I like that. I think that's, I'll pay it right out of my, is that all? That's not a lot for what they had to go through. And I want to thank Elon Musk, by the way, because think if we don't have him. You know, there's only so long, even though they're in the capsule up there, that the body starts to deteriorate after 9 or 10 months and gets really bad after 14, 15 months with the bones and the blood and all the things that you've been reporting on very well. And if we don't have Elon, they could be up there a long time. Who else is going to get him? And I just want to thank him. He's going through a lot, what they're doing to him. And these people are going to be caught, and they're going to be caught, and they're going to be prosecuted. And from what they tell me, I see this just by watching your programs and reading the news, but from what they tell me, they could get 20 years in jail, and they'll get it. I'll tell you, there's going to be no leniency, and there'll be no pardons. I can tell you that right now.
These are the people protesting and damaging. I mean, protesting's fine, peacefully. But if you are protesting and damaging Teslas and destroying dealerships, you're not protesting. You are now a criminal that needs to go to jail. Y'all need to talk to each other and be like, hey, we need to stop destroying stuff because we are going to go to jail, and this is honestly not changing anything. That's awesome, though. And I don't hear CNN talking about Trump in this specific interview here. I mean, they asked him about overtime pay for the astronauts, and he said he would pay out of his own pocket to pay their overtime, and he would probably give them more. I don't hear CNN saying anything good and positive about that. They always like to find all the dirt they can and expose that. It's ridiculous.
Let's bring in former Kentucky Attorney General and 1792 Exchange CEO Daniel Cameron, who is also a Senate candidate. Daniel, great to have you here. I want to get to a number of injunctions and cases, but let's start with this USAID ruling. As you heard from my colleague Marilyn Rivera, it's a pretty big win for the Trump administration. What do you make of it?
Griff, it is a fantastic win for the Trump administration and their perseverance. Judge Quattlebaum was exactly right. Unconventional doesn't necessarily mean unconstitutional. The fact of the matter is that President Trump was elected to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. USAID had become a haven for the radical left. Again, we want to see a president that is cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. That's what he was elected on. You know, as a conservative, we've been talking about this for 30 years. Ronald Reagan started it, and Donald Trump is going to get the job done.
It's interesting you talk about Reagan, and Daniel, I can remember back in the 90s, I was working in talk radio. Rush Limbaugh was the king. He often talked about, you know, any one of these examples of waste, fraud, and abuse would be a story for a week. Now we're learning them, and in the interview with Bret Baier, Elon saying that they have upwards of $1 billion fines on a near regular basis.
It is absolutely ridiculous that the USAID program and the bureaucracy within USAID has been allowed to run rogue. I mean, we saw this back starting with the Clinton administration, where they were essentially trying to push population control through USAID. It's gotten worse, or got worse under the Biden administration, where they were essentially trying to push the trans mania, if you will, or transgenderism on other countries. And ultimately, that was bad for a whole host of reasons. One of which, the main of which, is that Americans don't want that sort of nonsense within their programs that are coming out of the United States. And I'm, again, pleased beyond imagination that the Trump administration is allowed to proceed with the cuts at USAID. Again, whether it's DOGE or any other part of the Trump administration, they are about making sure that government is working for the American people, and this is a step in the right direction.
Let me switch.
Exactly. He could not have said that any better. God, I don't even know what to say to follow up on that, because that's exactly what, you know, people, and I've been saying too in a couple of my other videos when it came to USAID and what DOGE has been finding within the agency, and how we need to completely dismantle it, because its main purpose was being weaponized by the Biden administration into trying to spread this transgender ideology to the rest of the world in hopes that the whole world can get aligned with what America was doing. And Biden and his administration was doing this in secrecy. That way the American people wouldn't know. They used USAID to do this. And luckily, damn it, my camera died. Okay, sorry about that, guys. It froze. I can't even remember what the last thing I said. But anyways, I completely agree with this gentleman said. Gotta make the cuts for USAID, because Biden and his administration ruined this country by implementing things in this country and trying to spread it in other countries. It just wasn't panning out for the American people, and the American people saw right through the Democratic Party, and that's why we elected Trump to be the president, and he's gonna correct what America stands for. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. Till next time. Peace out, everybody.